Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. I Javid, wani teacher. My dear students, we are discussing demography and society, chapter number 1st of class 12th, subject sociology. Today we will discuss theories of population, where we shall discuss theory number 1, that is Malthusian theory of population. What is this theory all about? Let us learn. The field of demography arose 2 centuries ago in response to the population growth of that day. My dear students, the problems of population and its consequences have been pondered upon by some scholars some centuries ago. One, Thomas Robert Malthus, 1766 to 1834, an English economist. He was an English economist and clergyman. He was religious knowing. He was part of the clergy. Argued that increases in population, if left unchecked, would eventually result in social chaos. He said that if the problems of population remained unchecked, that if the government did not thought of the problems of population, it would result in social chaos, it would result in social disorder. Malthus predicted that the human population would continue to increase exponentially. He thought that population is growing very much fastly, that it is growing exponentially in the form of 1, 2, 4, 16 to 56, etc., like that, until the situation is out of control. He also warned that food production would only increase arithmetically. He said that food growth is arithmetic, that is, it is in the number of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, etc., in simple numbers, because of limitations in available farmland. The Malthusian theory of population is the theory of exponential population growth and arithmetic food supply growth. His theory is mainly based upon that population is growing exponentially, and versus that food growth is simply arithmetic. That is, there is a mismatch between the food supply and the population growth. There is a gap between the two, which will result in starvation, affliction, etc., poverty. So his argument was that human population has a natural tendency to increase faster than the food production. Gap between the two gives rise to the shortage of food and other necessities of life, thus causing poverty, misery, unemployment, etc. My dear students, the only theme what till now I discussed is that the Malthusian said that if population remained unchecked, it would wreak havoc on our society. It will result in the chaos. The food supply will remain short to the growing population growth. So the mismatch between the two, that's the gap between the two, that is the exponential population growth versus the arithmetic food supply, it will result a gap which will result into the poverty, misery, unemployment, etc. मेरे प्यारे बच्चों, हम आसान भाषा में ये समझेंगे कि जो माल्थ्यूजियन का कहना है, उसका ये कहना है कि पॉपुलेशन ग्रोथ बड़ी तेज़ है और फूड सप्लाई विच विल सपोर्ट द पॉपुलेशन ग्रोथ is very slow. It is arithmetic due to the limited farmland, due to the limited resources. जो इसमें गैप रहती है, इससे क्या होगा, इससे पॉवर्टी बढ़ जाएगी, मिजरी, एफ्लिक्शन बढ़ जाएगा, अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट, बेरोजगारी बढ़ जाएगी. माल्थ्यूज का कहना था. Let us move. Malthusian suggested that if it is necessary to check the population growth either through positive or preventive checks. His motto was that it is eminent, it is very important to check this population. He has mentioned some ways, positive checks. What are the positive checks of population control? Let us study. Nature has its own ways of keeping a check on the increasing population. It brings the population level to the level of the available food supply. The positive checks include famines, earthquakes, flood, epidemics, wars, etc. When humans fail to control excessive population growth, nature plays its role. My dear students, Malthus has to say that there is a positive check, there is a natural check. If we will not this check this population, there is a natural check in the form of earthquakes, flood, epidemics, wars, etc., which will play an important role in controlling the population. So it was all about natural check, positive checks. Then there are preventive checks. What are preventive checks? The preventive measures such as the late marriage, self control, that's the birth control of children, simple living help to balance the population growth and food supply. If the society resorts to late marriage, self control, simple living it will help to balance the population growth and food supply. This measure cannot only check the population growth but can also prevent the catastrophic effects of the positive checks. If the society will resort to preventive checks, then the natural checks which wreak havoc, which have catastrophic effects on the population, will not play its role if preventive checks are being applied. It was about the theory. Let us discuss its criticism. Was every statement right or wrong of Malthus? Let us have a check on that. Malthus' predictions were mistaken because he failed to account for technological advancements that would increase agriculture and farm production, not to mention the increasing development and acceptance of birth control methods. My dear students, Malthus' statements were mistaken by majority of the people. He failed miserably at some points. Malthus did not mention, or he could not predict that the technological advancement could play an important role in delivering food, in increasing agricultural produce. His predictions turned out to be wrong in many ways, but his theory did not lack merit at all. As noted by new Malthusians, a group of demographics such as habitable and fertile land, clean air, and fresh water are finite resources, and with medical advances increasing fertility and lowering death rates, the global population continues to grow exponentially with no end in sight. Malthus is right at his place when he said that population is increasing exponentially because medical advancements have resulted in that, but food supply is also being taken care of by the scientific advancements, so it has its own merits and demerits. It was the Malthusian theory of population. It was all about today. I hope inshallah you would have learned about the theory. Inshallah next theory will be discussed tomorrow. Till then, assalamu alaikum.